Hello and welcome to another episode of the Elite City Podcast. Because the march of time is relentless and somehow we're already at the end of 2024, we'll be talking about our 2025 predictions today. And to do that with me are Jay and Biddy. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
I wrote "Hi, guys" in the script and it immediately made me think of Chris Jericho and it immediately made me mad.
Yep.
So that's where we are.
be
Before we
fair.
start, just a reminder, you can find us on social media at Elite City Pod everywhere. And please like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit a bell if there's a bell in whatever app you're listening to us on. Do that too, because that helps.
Ran at us, fillet us,
Okay, those aren't social media terms. That's just like murder.
emasculate us, even though two of us are women.
You-
Whatever.
Have you become John Moxley or just like choke us, pull a plastic bag over our heads?
Yeah.
pour
Put a
some
plastic
bleach
bag
down our
over my
throats?
head and then see what happens.
Okay, what is that stuff he keeps pouring down Orange Cassidy's throat? Is it bleach?
That was supposed to be bleach.
I assumed it was supposed to be bleach. Yeah.
No, you drink the bleach. Sorry.
I did see someone say that Orange Cassidy should get back at him by pouring orange juice down his throat, which I thought would be really funny. He's like, "No, you're getting vitamin C," and Mox is like, "No, I refuse. I eat spikes." It'd be good. Anyway, as we mentioned, this podcast is about our predictions for next year, but we're going to start by looking back at what we predicted last year, and by we, I don't mean Jay and Biddy because they weren't here. I mean me and Blasco, who is not here, but he did pretty well. But just don't tell him that because then we'll find out if he listens. So here's his predictions for last year. His first one, AEW and New Japan will do a pay-per-view in Japan. I'm going to give him credit for that one. They haven't done it yet, but they're planning on doing it in early January, so that counts. I'll count that. He also said Swerve becomes the first Black AEW World Champion, which was true.
Whoa.
So good job.
Wow.
Hit
Good
that.
job there. What he did also say that either AEW or ROH will hold an annual all-women's pay-per-view, which of course they wouldn't do that. This is
Fuck
AEW we're
women.
talking about.
How
This is
dare
AEW
you?
we're talking about.
How dare you even suggest such a stupid idea?
The women get one designated match between 9 and 9:20 on most nights, and that's it. And then what he wanted to happen, we're also doing our wishes that aren't predictions. His wish was AEW and New Japan will let Impact through the Forbidden Door, which was very not true because Impact is now working with WWE. So that didn't count. Now, I was very wrong on all of my predictions. You'll be glad to know. My first one, AEW will have more international pay-per-views, and I think they only had All In. I don't think they had any other ones, so that doesn't count. I said Swerve versus Will Ospreay will main event All In for the world title. They did not. I'm going to give myself partial credit for the next one, though. I said the BCC splits up with Claudio and Yuta on one side and Danielson and Moxley on the other. I'll give myself partial credit for that because they did split up, except it was the whole group trying to murder
Yeah.
Bryan Danielson. But it's close. I didn't predict the murders, though.
Rick,
Yeah.
can I ask why we'd be happy that your predictions were wrong? What is it that would make
because
us
you-
happy?
Because you don't like me as a person.
What
And I don't
the
blame you.
hell? What is this? God, what is this? Whoop, whoop. I'm Rick. I'm such a
Debbie
Ugh.
Downer.
God, get over it.
And what I want to happen was I wanted ROH to become its own thing with its own taping and limited crossover, which didn't happen. But Jericho winning the ROH title has seemed to limit his time on AEW TV.
Thank
So-
God.
Oh,
So that's
sorry.
pretty good.
Oops.
So that's pretty good.
Inside thoughts came outside once.
So now we're going to move on to 2025 and what we predict. What we'll do is we'll go around. We've each done 3 predictions and 1 wish. We'll go around and do 1 each, and we'll do a little round table. And we're going to start with Jay. Your first prediction.
Oh, okay. Mine aren't as specific as you guys. Mine is, I think the first one, I think someone's going to have a come to Jesus moment with Mox. Like he's going to hit that this year upcoming. This is going to backfire on him. This like rebellion he's leading. I think it's going to backfire on him big time, like really big time.
But not the murder. He's going to keep getting away with the murders.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Mox,
Okay.
he's going to get away with murder. But
Yeah.
I just mean like this whole like takeover thing is going to come back and bite him in the butt. I think would be cool if it was like Eddie Kingston. It's like whoa, bro, because
Yeah. Oh, I
that was
miss
his
Eddie.
dude. I do too. I really miss Eddie. That's why
I
just put
really
him in
hope
there.
it's Eddie. If
I know
someone's
because that would make
Yeah.
I really hope
so
it's Eddie.
great,
That would be
right?
fun.
I mean, that's the perfect person to like.
To pull Mox back, like, hey man, right? Like, I wish Eddie was my life coach. Actually, like, just he could get me through a lot.
Eddie would be a good life coach, but he'd hate every minute of it. He'd be like, "Fine, this is what you gotta stupid do with your stupid
Mhm.
life. Okay, just do it and suck it up and move on."
Just get up out of bed.
Yeah.
As
Just get up out
someone
of bed.
Every minute
as
of it,
someone
like,
who
he'd
was
inspire me.
just watching, because I got for Christmas the Ted Lasso box set, and actually my boyfriend and I are horrible at giving each other presents because as soon as it arrives, it's like open it. And yeah, this arrived and he's like, open that, I want to watch it. And it was the Ted Lasso box set. But Eddie Kingston is kind of like the Roy Kent of AEW. And
It's a really good
just-
reference for two other people who haven't seen the
I
show.
was gonna say Rick
Yeah.
and I have no idea who that is.
yes,
It's a great reference. Thanks, Biddy.
but to the people who have seen it, they'd be like, yeah, he is kind of the Roy Kent. But yeah, anyway, I miss Eddie.
I do hope it's Eddie. It'd be fun if it was Eddie.
Yeah, I think that would be the perfect person because they were like BFFs and they did everything together. And Eddie always kind of has that way of the way he speaks. I could listen to him speak all day. I think
Have you ever seen that video he did with, I think, the Bucks during the pandemic, where they were just like, when he first signed with AEW, and they're like, cut a promo on this chocolate bar. And he did. And he cut like a 5-minute promo on chocolate, and it was awesome.
yeah, he's just so good. I think that'd be the perfect person for like the come to Jesus moment with Mox.
Yeah, that'd be good. I want to see that. That'd be really fun. And they never really got a feud. Like they had where he was mad at Mox for teaming up with Claudio, but nothing ever really happened with that. They just kind of were mad at each other, but they never really got a real feud. So that would be really fun. I would like to see that for sure. Biddy, do you have one?
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening. What?
Do you have a prediction? Do you have a prediction? It's a predictions episode.
Oh, prediction. Prediction. I think Hangman's gonna be world title again.
I can see
He's
that.
gonna get it back.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that for sure. But is it going to be crazy Hangman, or is he going to be regular Hangman by the time he
I
gets
think
back?
it's gonna be crazy Hangman.
Absolutely unhinged Hangman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
I was
so
watch-
he's
I
so
was
fun.
watching that interview with him and Swerve when like they first started feuding. When Swerve came out and told him off for like getting all these opportunities, and Swerve never got any opportunities. I just watched it. Hangman looks so different. He had like nice curly hair and like a button-up shirt on, and he was just like standing there calmly. He's like you realize the stark change in how he seems now that he's like, setting stuff on fire and stabbing people, and yeah.
Yeah. He's amazing. Like, and he's been so involved with everything, pretty much everything in what AEW's been around for like what 5.5 years now.
Yeah, he's
He's
kind of
been
been there
in-
since he's been like the main character for the whole
He's
run.
been involved with almost like anything. Like Mox is their ace, but he's their up and coming ace type of thing. I just he's
I have heard people say that like Hangman is like he's the representation of the viewer watching the episode. Like when AEW was a young upstart company, he was like the bright-eyed, up and comer guy. And then when AEW had hard times, he kind of became crazy, and like he's kind of us on screen, which I think I agree with.
That makes sense.
he's wonderful. I love how he that douchebag YouTuber that WWE let in to do wrestling. He's like, oh, I hope they choose someone cooler to steal half my moves next time.
Was that who he was talking about? I didn't even know who he was talking about.
Oh,
Logan Paul.
that was referencing Logan Paul. Okay.
Yeah.
Why did Logan Paul do one of his moves?
I mean, just God, he's just
Well, I mean, Seth Rollins tries to do Kenny Omega's V trigger. Tries.
I mean, some people do. Who does the stomp at AEW? Someone does.
That's Seth Rollins also.
But who does it in AEW? Someone does it. Britt. Doesn't Britt do it? I think Britt does it.
I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, so we'll do Blasco's. Blasco's first prediction is.
Are you gonna do Blasco's real predictions or
I
our
was gonna say,
made up ones?
I had fake ones, and all of them were like Chris Jericho gets all the TV time in the world, and I love
we
it.
talked about effing with him. Look,
Yeah.
I censored myself. Please.
No, his actual first prediction
Please
is
clap.
Daniel Garcia wins the AEW title, world title.
No.
I don't see it either.
Nope.
I know this is going to be an opinion that I think most people would disagree with. Daniel Garcia is a great wrestler. I just don't see it. And like superstar, like head of a company guy in him. He's a great wrestler. He's a great he's a great guy. He's like, I don't know. I don't see him as like the top guy. I don't know what you guys think.
No, I agree. He's not a top guy. He's good.
I mean, he might be one day, but I don't know. He's not right now.
I don't think
he's
he's there
now
yet.
at all.
He's not there yet. No, not for this year.
No. So my first prediction, I'm going to start with a pretty obvious one that I think we're all pretty certain of. I'm going to say, obviously, the Rizzler wins the AEW World title.
I don't know who that is. I don't want to learn who that is.
I don't either. You
Okay,
know what?
that's
Let's just stop there and just move on.
It's not my actual prediction. My actual prediction is Darby Allin wins the AEW World title.
Well, that's where it's going.
Yeah.
I think he's going to win it.
I don't want it to go that way, but
I think he's going to be the one who takes it from Mox. I hope the way it goes is he's kind of erratic right now and like just doing stuff that's like illogical. He's hurting himself. He's dropping down from the ceiling and just hanging there while he gets beat up. He's like jumping on cars. Like he's just doing stupid things. I hope where it goes is like Sting talks to him and is like, hey, I get why you're mad. I've been through this myself, but like you can't just throw yourself off of a car at people. Like you have to be smarter than this, and kind of teaches him how to take down an evil force. I would like to see that. That would be fun.
Is he still going to climb Mount Everest?
Yeah, he said he's gonna put an AEW flag on the top of it.
What if he dies? Like what if he
might
dies
die?
up there?
Yeah.
People
like,
die.
in all seriousness, he could die. Like it's entirely possible.
People do die. I mean, they say it's littered with like dead bodies and trash of past climbers.
It's clearly safer than it was in the past, but like you could still die. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully they either give him the title after he climbs Mount Everest, or they have a secondary plan in mind. I don't know.
Wouldn't that be terrible? He holds the title and then dies on Mount Everest.
I mean, yeah, him dying in general would be terrible, but yes, that would be worse.
Like,
oh yeah, that would be really bad for AEW.
Like, yeah, right. I mean,
yeah. So maybe don't climb Mount Everest. Like last year, he was going to do it. He broke his ankle, and I was like, "That's pretty good."
He can't die. Oh, that's. I mean, his spine should have been snapped in half like 18 times before, and he just.
I mean, he
back.
Thinks he can't die. But...
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. He'll make it up now on Everest and come back. Yeah, he's fine.
I don't know how he does things that he does. I honestly don't, because he should be like in serious medical pain at all times. But I don't know. He does it. Prediction 2, Jay.
What is so funny?
It's a predictions episode, Biddy. It's a predictions episode.
I just love the discourse.
So I think now that AEW is moving to Max and streaming, I think, we joke about how they handle the women's division. We get one women's match a night at 9:30 on the dang dot every week. I think maybe this is more of a hope, but I think when we move to streaming, we're going to get more women's stuff because it's not going to be dictated by cable ratings and things anymore. None of that's going to matter anymore because it'll be on streaming platforms. People want to see women wrestle. I mean, we know that they have big stars like Mercedes and Britt, and Tony is huge too. Why are we not getting more women? Everybody likes the women. We get one match a night. So I think we'll see a shift in that. Maybe we'll get more segments, more matches, more, kind of more story building rather than just like, here's one main story and then all other women are doing like their own thing.
I would hope so. I mean, I think for the last like 2 years, Blasco and I have both predicted more stuff, and I've refused to predict it this year because I'm like, I'm just going to keep predicting better stuff for the women's division, and it won't happen. And I don't.
That's why I said I think it's probably more of a hope than an I think it will happen. I feel like cable ratings is half the reason things are the way that they
Yeah.
are, and hopefully that changes a lot.
Well, the good news about streaming is not only do they not have cable ratings, but they get accurate ratings now. Cable ratings is like they survey like a few hundred houses and then they sample that across the whole country.
Yep.
Streaming ratings, they can specifically tell how many people watched and where they stopped watching and where they tuned in, and they'll have a lot better data.
It's
And
much more detailed.
And I think you're right. The more detailed data will tell them that no, it's not that people don't want to see women's wrestling. It's whatever reason people are tuning in after 9:30, probably because they're all old people when they go to sleep. But yeah, I hope so. I know that they've been doing more women's stuff on like Collision and what's left of Rampage, and that's good. And I know is it a catch-22 that like, oh, no one watches Collision and Rampage, so don't put stuff on Collision and Rampage, but then nobody watches them because they don't put stuff on them. So
right, and then plus two, like isn't Athena still the champion on Ring of Honor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Why haven't we seen her? She's great.
I don't get why they're not putting her on AEW.
She's
it
fantastic.
must be she wants to stay there, because why else would they? Like, it must be she wants to be in ROH. I don't know.
Maybe.
Why.
I mean, she was the women's champion at NXT. She was on Raw for quite a bit. She was, I think, women's champion for a while. I can't remember. One of them. I can't remember if it was SmackDown or Raw. And so, I mean, she has TV time. She has she can wrestle. She's a great wrestler.
And she's got a great character. Like, she's
right.
Yeah, it's not like she's a wrestler who can't talk or who can't do a storyline, because she can't.
That's what I mean. She has the ability and the knowledge. I just don't know why we don't see her.
Maybe she gets more ring time in ROH, and she'd prefer that. Like, she'd rather be on.
It must be something like that, because like she's so dope. I mean, it'd be dumb not to bring her to AEW unless she. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She must want to be building up ROH. That must.
I do think also, Jay, you're right that it must be the cable networks that don't want the women's wrestling, because apparently ROH has a ton of it. Like, they have like several women's matches.
That's
every
what
week.
Blasco says. Yeah, Blasco is like a really devout watcher of it, and he loves it.
Well, he apparently they give way more time to the women in ROH.
So I think it might be a TV network thing. Maybe TBS or TNT is like, no, we have demographic information to show that.
Probably. I mean, probably that could definitely play into it. It could be like a multitude of different reasons, just kind of,
Yeah, I do hope you're right. When they get on streaming, they'll get some more accurate information, and they'll just get more people. Like, a lot of people don't have cable, and we're past the age of flicking through channels. Even if you do have cable, very few people are starting at like the first channel and clicking all the way up. And that looks interesting, I'm going to stop. You know what you want to watch, and you just watch that show.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know about Dynamite, you're just not watching it. But
exactly.
if you have Max and you're flipping through shows on Max, like maybe there'll be a banner for AEW, and you'd be like, oh, what is that? I've heard of Chris Jericho. That's where Chris Jericho could be useful, because you're just like, oh, I've heard of him. I'm going to watch that show.
Right. Yeah. More people are cutting cable than ever, like myself included. We don't have cable. We just have internet, and we have streaming, obviously, different platforms, but it's just not worth it to watch the same thing over and over and over on cable television, on network, cable networks.
I can definitely see
same
that.
Shows.
I think a lot of things will change for them when they're when streaming. Because I mean, they're still going to be on TBS and TNT. They're not leaving TV.
Right.
But I think it will change for them. And now that Raw is also going to be on Netflix, we're at the end of people caring about ratings, because it just won't matter anymore.
Finally.
It just won't matter anymore for the first time in like 30 years. Like, no one will care.
What weird nerds. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. What kind of a weird nerd are you to care so much?
I've always said that. I know people care about other things, but I can't see someone who's a fan of a certain, NHL team or NBA team being like, well, our team gets better ratings. Who cares? Nobody cares.
Like, just like
what you like.
Right.
Yeah. It's very weird.
Don't be a weird nerd.
Like, can people just calm down? Like,
no, there's no chill in this country. Don't you know that?
Oh my God!
And
neither countries.
And there's no way you can like be middle of the road on something. You can't be like, I like some aspects of it, but not others. You have to either love it or hate it. That's how everything needs to be.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. So, all right, Beatty, you have a second one?
My prediction.
Yep.
My prediction.
That's a no.
No, you know what? Honestly, I know they're setting up Darby. I think Orange Cassidy's gonna be world champion. You don't put him into all of this mixture and not he's a fan favorite. Everyone loves, well, not everyone, Jim Cornette and stuff, but
He's generally very loved, yeah.
like you don't have him. He's always the underdog to a point, but I feel like at some point he's going to be world champion. That's my prediction.
I've thought about that. Do you think that they'll have to change his gimmick a little bit to have him be world champion, or he'll just this current Orange Cassidy can be world champion?
I don't know that much. I haven't thought that much of it.
Like,
I
do they
actually
have to
kind
make him
of
more serious or more angry or more,
I don't know.
something, or could he just do it the way he is now? Because he's kind of stuck to this character since he showed up in A. Like he's evolved, but it's the same character. And
I don't know. I mean,
I would
they
like to
keep
see him.
they keep throwing him at it. Like, how many times you're gonna throw him at it and he falls short? Like, at some point, like if you're gonna keep doing that and he's a fan favorite, you need to let him finally
I agree. I have to say,
overcome.
was it All Out last year when he faced Mox in the main event for the international title? I think it was. And that was like one time where I watched an AEW show and Mox beat him, and at the end I was like legitimately upset that he lost because I really I hoped he would win. You're right, he just can't keep making it there and then losing.
Right. Like at some point everyone roots for him. You have to finally let him overcome that mountain.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to see it. That would be fun. That'd be a cool. That'd be
when
a cool
it
thing.
happens, it's gonna be fucking dope because they
And
bet.
I hope the
built it up
celebration is
for-
like 5 balloons casually slowly fall.
Yeah.
When he wins. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be amazing.
That would be great. I would love to see that. I'd
Yeah,
be very
Same.
excited.
that's my prediction. I hope in this next year they let that happen.
Now we'll go to Blasco's second prediction, which is
Oh.
Christian and Adam Copeland will feud, and then that will turn into them becoming a tag team again. I could see that.
I love that. I hope it happens. I mean, I think we're all children of the Attitude Era. I mean,
Now,
Christian Cage.
how do you get Christian out of his like saying horrible things about people phase?
Well,
'Cause
maybe.
I don't know if either of you saw Dynamite this week, but he was like, "Mox, I'm gonna beat you so badly, you're gonna have to go turn back to drinking and end up in rehab again." And everyone's like,
Oh.
Yeah, Christian.
Maybe they try to make him face with Copeland. I mean,
He'd have to stop insulting people's dads, I assume.
yeah, but well, it's funny because they're together because yeah, whatever's happening in wrestling, but they're still besties and grew
Yeah.
up together. They're like advertising some workout thing
that
together.
plank board thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, bless them. That's so cute.
I would like to see that. That would be fun if they could do it. I think they could do it. They could turn Christian like into like a bit less of an asshole, and I think it would work out.
Mm-hmm.
I would like that. I was a little upset that when Matt and Jeff Hardy were in AEW, they didn't do something with the four of them. Not a match necessarily, but just
Jeff Hardy kind of effed a lot of that up.
Jeff Hardy did that all to himself.
I'm sure they had a lot of plans, but
my favorite thing about that was later on, Matt was like, "They never gave us a push," and I'm like, "Well, you were going to win the tag team titles, and then your brother got arrested for drunk driving, so that kind of put an end to that." But yeah. Okay, my second one, which I think is kind of already happening as well. I think that Collision becomes the smaller show that they shoot in like more unique venues. Like this week, it was in like the comic convention place, and they had that during the summer. They had it shot in. They rented out that soundstage in Arlington, right? Esports Arena in Arlington for a month. I think that Dynamite Stays is like the traveling arena show, and I think Collision is going to be from like concert halls or 600 person venues, or like cool, like they'll do it on a beach, or they'll do it at a music festival, or they'll do it somewhere, because like people don't go to Collision right now. I understand it's a hard sell. It's like Saturday night and people have stuff going on. I get it. But if they had it at somewhere different, people would go, and it would look cool on TV because I know we all talk about how it doesn't matter what AEW's popularity is right now, but when you have an arena where there's only 1,000 people in a 10,000 people arena, it doesn't feel right. Like it seems empty. It feels like dead. You could hear like individual members of the audience talking sometimes. Like it's not good.
Yeah.
I would hope that they would keep Dynamite as it is, where they're like traveling to different arenas and they kind of have collision via, oh, this month we're going to be renting this venue in this city and do a bunch of collisions there. And they do it that way.
That'd be neat. It would give it more of like an indie show feel too. Which,
Yeah.
you know, since AEW, a lot of that's indie, got that indie feel to it with the, you know, with the wrestlers and everything.
And Tony Khan has said that like Collision is like the show for the sickos. So like, yeah, make it the indie show. Make it if you want like weird indie dream matches between a guy from Japan that no one's ever heard of and this guy from PWG that only 10 people have heard of. Like that's on Collision. If you are one of those 10 people, you'll love that show. And that could kind of differentiate them too from WWE because they're, if you want to see all these indie guys get on TV, that's where they are. I don't know. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So prediction 3, Jay.
Prediction 3. This is a really bold take. I think we're gonna eventually get Effie on AEW.
Ooh.
Didn't he make fun of Tony Khan's dad like last week?
Well, okay. Well, you know, I might have missed that because he doesn't post on Blue Sky as much as he posts on Twitter. So maybe I missed that.
No, they pulled someone from one of his shows. I forget who it was now. They pulled him from a GCW. No, well, he got upset because AEW is running Hammerstein Ballroom like 2 weeks before GCW is running
GCW, that's right.
Ballroom.
Yeah. No, I mean, I could see if Tony...
He said something like, oh, you know, we're not all billionaires whose dads give us money to keep us away because they don't want to talk to us. And like, then Tony Khan was like, but fine, you can't have... Yeah, I don't know.
He has said in the past, though, that, you know, if Tony paid him enough money, like, you know, he'd be there. I just think, how do you not try to get him just because he's just the most knowledgeable in the business right now? He knows what people want. He knows how to book. He knows how to run shows. I mean, he is so knowledgeable. How do you not try to get him?
I think Tony Khan he may be a better billionaire, but he's still a billionaire. And he therefore thinks he knows better. And he might. I don't know. Like, I have no idea. But
yeah,
I don't know. I can see this being a thing where Tony Khan just holds this grudge for a very long time about.
On the other side of that coin too, also I see Danhausen like leaving the company. I don't think he's gonna stick around.
I think the moment Punk left, he was on his way out.
Right. I know they're really good friends, so I think that's just kind of set that in stone. So I don't know. I would like to see Effie, I guess, you know.
I mean, stranger things have happened. It's wrestling, right? So
right.
You never know.
I can see if Tony coughs up enough money, I could see it happening. But Effie does like to talk a lot of shit too, so you know.
Yeah, apparently from what I've read is Tony Khan was fine with him talking about AEW, but as soon as he talked about his family, then he was like, "Well, I'm done with you." And I can kind of get that he was right. he basically said like your dad pays you to stay away from him because he doesn't want to talk to you. So yeah, Biddy, prediction 3. Sorry.
Yeah, we're on 3.
Yeah.
Who can count?
Prediction 3. Skip me. I got to think about it for a second. I did not prepare. Imagine that.
It's shocking. Okay, we're gonna go with Blasco's third one, and none of us will have much to say about this because it relates to ROH. Blasco's third one is that Billy Starks is the one to beat Athena. I could see that. I don't know anyone else in ROH, but
yeah,
it is weird. It's very weird.
I was trying to bully him to join in for at least 10 minutes.
Well, yeah, we need him to talk about ROH because none of us watch it.
Right. But... Well, we're not sick. He is the ultimate sicko.
Oh yeah, I've said to him before. He's the AEW. He's the core, like the prime AEW.
He is, but to be fair though, he's not. He can be objective about it.
Yes, he's the prime AEW audience, but he's not like
right
hardcore. Like everything they do is amazing. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, which is I think the way it should be, because they're all companies. We don't have to love them. We can like them. We can watch them. We can enjoy them.
Right.
But, yeah. Okay.
Well,
Go.
I think you know what? Okay, third prediction. I think Thunder Rosa is she's gonna get involved in this women's stuff, obviously. I mean, her holding up the sign this week, WTF and stuff. So Thunder Rosa is going to be a big part of the women's title match in the next few months.
I would hope so. I think that there's a chance that she's the next challenger for Mariah May.
I would love that, honestly. I mean, she's great. She's fantastic.
And ever since I know she was like part of the Collision experiment when they started it with, we're going to have not a roster split, but we're going to have some people only on Collision. She was on like the Collision side, and like that was fine. But the reality is Collision's the less popular show. So like if you want people to pay attention to you, you have to be on Dynamite sometimes. And I think they are going to start putting her on Dynamite now. And yeah, that would be fun. She's great. I think she's great. So.
Well, and she's had a lot of injuries and stuff, and there was all those rumors or whatever about she won't sell and blah blah blah. But I don't know. I think they wouldn't have had her holding up that sign when Toni Storm came back.
No, I think that she's probably Mariah May's next opponent, and maybe Toni Storm gets involved in that somehow. I don't know. But yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. See, I'm not a total dummy. Here we go. Let's go.
All right, my third one.
Sorry.
My third one. Listen to me. This is probably more of a wish. I feel like this isn't a thing that it's not that likely to happen, but it's mine.
Getting 2 wishes in here.
But it's mine. I think that there's somehow a reduction in the number of titles they have in AEW. Somehow. I think the easiest way for them to do it is the Continental title becomes just the thing you win in the Continental Classic, kind of like the belts you get for the Owen Hart tournament, but you don't defend it the rest of the year. It's just you have it in the tournament, and then you hold it till the next year, and then you're back in the tournament, and you have to defend it there.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't realize there was a Continental and International until like a few weeks ago, and I'm like, what's the difference?
Because the Continental title is weird because Eddie won it last year. You had to win the tournament to win it. So he won the tournament and he won it. And then Okada just beat him for it in a single match. And then Okada's just had it the whole year. But now Okada has to win the tournament to keep it. Like, why do sometimes you have to win a tournament to have this belt? And then couldn't someone just outside of the tournament just face Okada tomorrow and just win the title? It's weird.
You know, I was thinking about titles and stuff too, and I was thinking about predictions and this and that. The trios title, that could disappear and nobody would even know.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of has. Like
I mean, it started out so solid, and then it just kind of didn't go. Really fizzled out, and they haven't been doing much with the division. It's just.
Yeah. We've said that before a bunch of times that the trios titles and the tag titles kind of cancel each other out a little bit. They're obviously different, but they seems like they only kind of focus on one or the other. Like they focus on trios, but then the tag titles were gone. Like didn't really matter for a while. And now they're kind of putting the focus back on the tag titles, but the trios titles are just meh. I could see the Death Riders just forgetting them. Just like being like, we don't need these, and just dropping them, and they just go away.
Yeah.
And that would be a way to get rid of them, because I could see Mox being like, everyone's here for their own egos, and we don't care about titles. We're just going to toss these aside, and then they just forget about them. And I could even see that being, now that I talked about it, I could see that being why Kenny and the Bucks come back, because they kind of made those titles for them. I could see the Death Riders throwing them away and then them being like, hey, wait, you can't throw those titles away. Those are our things. But then not fight for the titles, just fight. Actually, stop fighting for AEW. I don't want that anymore. But yeah, the trios titles could go away. It was weird because for a while they merged them with the ROH 6-man titles. And they were one thing.
That's right.
But they all, it was the Bang Bang Gang had them. And they all carried, they all carried 3 different belts around. Because they had the trios titles and the 6-man titles and then the unified titles, but then they unmerged them again, which they could disappear and I would be perfectly fine with it. And I remember even when they first started them, I remember thinking there's going to be so many teams that could compete for them. And it was just the Elite and Death Triangle, basically. So yeah, they could be gone. and I'd be fine with that. All right, Jay, your wish for next year.
So my wish kind of goes along with what I said about everything being off of cable, not so much dependent on cable, rather. I think it would be cool to see, because we talk about how AEW kind of took over for like the cool indie stuff. I would love to see more like mixed like men's and women's matches together. It's a constant in the indies, and I don't know why. I mean, I know why they're afraid to show that on television, but it's
It's
we
so much
understand
fun.
it is fun, and we understand that wrestling is the suspension of belief. You know it's what I mean, like it's not real, but it is, you do it for the story and such, and it's so much fun. I've seen so many cool matches in indie shows, and I mean, just we were talking about Effie recently. Allie, she and Effie were a tag team, and she just turned on Effie, and she beat him with a baseball bat with spikes on it. So I mean, it can be, it doesn't have to be incredibly violent or anything, but it can be fun. It's really fun to watch, you know, a woman kick a man's ass sometimes. I'm just gonna come out and
Well,
say it. I
that's
just
well, and to be fair, like some people, like Chris Statlander, like that's
Mhm.
legit. She looks like she can kick
Oh
people's
yeah.
asses.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, so WWE tried that mixed match challenge thing a couple of years back. Geez, that was like 6 or 7 years ago. And they got close with it because we had a couple like of tag teams with like a man and a woman on each, but then they never actually let them fight like
Yeah, it was like
against each other.
when the man tags out, they both
Right.
switch.
They
Yeah.
might get one little tiny
Yeah.
move in, but then we tag somebody in, and then it's full on like graps. And then or else you get like specific moments like with Randy Orton at the Rumble with Nia Jax. Like you never have a full blown match, and I would love to see that because it can be super fun, and it gets really creative, and it can build better stories because you don't have to stick to one distinct division. You can build another story with that.
Yeah, I think if you do it properly, for sure.
Mhm.
I'd be a little worried about them doing it properly, but I could.
Well,
But yeah,
I
I could
just
see
yeah.
that.
I know why they don't like to show it on television. I get that. I
Like
understand
the network
completely.
probably wouldn't even let them at this
Right,
point.
the network, it
Well,
has a lot to do
Yeah.
with, well, it's men beating up women, but
Yeah.
it's wrestling. It's scripted.
I mean, yeah, but people are weird about stuff like that.
They sure are.
Didn't
Right.
some athletic associations sue Nyla for?
Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's what it
Oklahoma,
was.
the actual state of Oklahoma. That's right.
And
She
like, do they know that? Like, even leaving the whole debate out of the question, they know it's not real, right? Like it's wrestling. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, they've got to be the network again. I think
Mhm.
CBS and TNT especially are very cognizant of like looking bad in that way. But if you have to do it properly, two ways you'd have to do it properly. You can't have like women get destroyed by like
Right.
Bobby
Right.
Lashley's beating the hell out of, I don't know.
Right.
Or you can't like, and I think that I don't know this, but I feel like there might be some men who have, we're gonna get Chris Statlander to beat up Leo Rush. Is he gonna be like, no, I don't want to look bad? I don't know.
That's true. I didn't think
Maybe.
of that. You're
I
right.
don't know.
I just know it can be really fun. I know like Pittsburgh when they do Enjoy and they do the Odyssey, which is like their version of the Rumble, and they have like anybody and everybody come out, and it's so much fun because there's just a pile of people in the ring, and it's just absolute chaos, and it's fun and it's exciting and engaging.
I think they could definitely do it if they do it properly, for sure.
Right.
And you're right. Now that they're not necessarily tied to TV, they might be able to do it. I wonder if ROH would do it because they're not on TV.
right.
That's good. Yeah.
And
That's the thing. They have ROH to like do like,
Mhm.
what's the word I'm looking for? Like
Experiment.
with this stuff. Yeah.
ROH should kind of be not necessarily developmental, where you graduate to like the main show. But you're right. It should be like the experimental brand.
Yeah.
We're gonna try this gimmick down there. We're gonna try this type of match down there. We're gonna try
Mhm.
this.
The sickos
whatever.
are paying to watch this, like Glasgow. Like, do what you want. Like,
Mhm.
try this stuff.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that would be cool. That would be
Mhm.
and it would be like another thing that AEW's thing has always been, that they have a bunch of different stuff. They have a bunch of different styles of wrestling. They have a bunch of different styles of wrestlers. They have a bunch of different, like, it's not just one style. So that would be
Right.
cool if they did that. And
Yeah.
it does give it like kind of an indie sort of thing, because the indies do it a lot. So
Yep.
All
That'd
right,
be cool.
you guys want to hear my wish?
I do desperately.
Always.
Desperately. It won't happen, but I wish that I read Mox's uh autobiography. He's a funny dude. I wish he would chill out and like let some of the comedy come in. Like he's so funny.
He
And
is.
I wish like he didn't feel the need to be this hard ass. I wish he would get to a point where he could let some of the comedy in because he's funny as hell, and I
That
would
is
love that.
kind of my knock on Mox is he's always like angry serious, and like even Eddie, who's like angry serious, isn't always like he's sometimes
Right.
funny.
Right.
So yeah, Mox.
That's
I heard someone describe Mox as like what a teenager thinks a tough guy's like,
right. Like
and I think that's kind of true.
He's
Like I
so
like
edgy.
Mox, but he does seem like he feels the need to be edgy all the time.
Mhm.
right, and he's a funny guy. Like his book is hilarious. Like I mean, like right off the bat, he's like, "I love Lana Del Rey, and if you don't like her, fuck you."
Yeah,
He's
that's the thing.
That's how
That's-
he was on Renee's podcast the first time,
Right.
like after he was out of WWE and Renee was doing her podcast. And she's like, what song would you pick? And he's like, well, I really like making love and on a Sunday morning. So I'd say I'm
Right.
easy like Sunday morning. Like he's just so funny.
That's the thing. He doesn't in his rest of his life. He doesn't feel the need to be like a tough guy. He's not
No.
one of those people who's like I have to be
Mm-mm.
manly tough guy all the time. It's just when he's wrestling, he feels like he has to always
But
be edgy and tough.
guess that's my wish is he would soften up a bit and let the comedy come in because he's really fucking funny.
It's a
And
good wish. I would like that. Apparently, Claudio is really funny too.
right, I don't doubt that. Like, well,
That
I
would be
mean,
fun, actually.
for like the Blackpool, they did that picture with all of them with William Regal, like all
Mhm.
doing
Leaning backwards.
goofy.
Yeah.
Well, do it, just like they have it in them, and I would like to see, like, I don't know, I feel like he feels this need to be, this, but like, calm down. You've done your part for AEW.
Yeah.
Like, calm down and let some comedy in.
Mhm.
I
That's
feel
why
like I think
people.
like that's
that's
kind
why
of identified
people
the problem I have with Mox is that like I love Mox, but it's a little much sometimes.
Right, calm down. It's okay. Wrestling should be fun, and let some of the comedy in. You're really funny. So, like,
He did.
Even if it,
He
even
did
if
a
it was
bit.
even
which
if it was
I get it.
dry
I get it
humor.
because they I guess I saw in the WWE that gave him a shot in the ass. Like,
Yeah, that was terrible. Like that wasn't funny.
No,
That was
I was
just
gonna
lame.
say no.
Yeah.
He did a bit. He did a bit. It was way before the shot in the butt, and they did a bit where he had a ficus of plant or something, and it was
Yeah, with Jericho, right?
Mitch the therapist,
Yeah,
and it was
Jericho.
so funny. He's like, "This is
Yeah.
Mitch." Like it
Right.
was just so funny, and
That's the
and he
thing.
could sell it.
I
It was
think
like a dry humor or like a straight man humor. Like
Mhm.
that would be really good. But yeah,
Mhm.
that would be fun. I would like that. Of course, the Mitch thing, WWE ran that into the ground. But when they
Right.
first did it, it was funny.
Right.
right, and I kind of get why he's like not about that because of WWE, but at
Yeah.
the same time, like, I would love to see Mox do a little comedy.
And it would refresh his character a little bit because it kind of gets old after a while. Just
Right,
every
he's
match, he's
I'm
like,
so mean and mad and
I get it. Yeah.
like, I think that's my wish is I wish that Mox would tap into that part of his personality that is funny, and he is very funny, and don't be scared of it.
That's a good one. I would like that. I would like that for
Mhm.
sure.
Thank you.
Now, Blasco's wish. He
He
wants
wishes
Leo Rush and Axel Andretti to join the Hurt Syndicate, which I think that'd be cool.
Mhm.
Yeah,
My fake Blasco wish was Jericho should have a 45-minute segment
I
every
was
week.
just gonna say he wishes Jericho to be the entire show.
He wishes that he could just be all of Dynamite. Yeah. Just nonstop. I will say the best part of Jericho being ROH champion is he does that New York minute, which is great because it's only a minute. So it's great. I can deal with him for a minute. That's fine. Yeah, Leo Rush and Action and Ready join the Hurt. That would be fun.
Mhm.
Joining the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah.
The Hurt Syndicate needs I think they could add a couple new members. I want them to get huge. I don't want them to add like 5 new members, but 1 or 2 would be fun. Leo Rush had a thing with Bobby Lashley before, and that was good in WWE.
Well, man,
So
I mean, AEW's tried to have him in there twice. I guess third time's the charm.
Leo Rush is like, he's charismatic, he's a good wrestler, he's entertaining, but yeah, for whatever reason, he's had kind of 2 tries in AEW and they haven't worked out. So yeah, maybe Hurt Syndicate, because then MVP could do most of the stuff and he could just wrestle and occasionally cut a promo. That would be cool. I would like that. And I love the Hurt Syndicate. They're doing great. Okay, my wish. Now, I said earlier I've given up on hoping for stuff for the women because if I had an actual wish, it would be a women's C2, but I can't even wish it because I don't think it's going to happen. No offense, not that it shouldn't happen. I just don't think it will.
You're just less. Yeah, we're being optimistic is what it is. We're just like, yeah, sure, they'll do that.
So I'm going to go with, I want to see some short title reigns, especially for the world title, because outside of that, when they did that weird in both the men's and the women's title where they had the interim titles, which horrible mistake. That was a terrible idea. Outside of those reigns, you mostly get really long title reigns. Like Danielson's was kind of short, only a few months, but everyone else's has like 6 months, 8 months, a year. Like they're very long title reigns, and I get why you would do that, because you want to establish the title, you want to establish how hard it is to become champion, you want like a select list of people who've been your world. I get it, I understand all of that, but like now there's so many in this Death Riders angle. There's so many people. There's Jay White, there's Orange Cassidy, there's Darby Allin, there's Hangman, there's Christian. Like have all of them win the title next year. Have Jay White win it, and then Christian cashes in and wins it from him, and then Darby takes have a bunch of short title reigns for like a short period of time, and have some of them happen when you don't think they're going to happen. Like one of the problems with, not problem, it makes sense. Like one of the things about wrestling, not just AEW today, is you kind of know when a title is going to change and when a title is not going to change. If Mox has a title match on Dynamite against Orange Cassidy, it's probably going to be a good match, but the chances of him losing a title match on Dynamite are very small. Have him lose. Just why not? Have him lose a title match, and then he can win it back in a month if you want to keep him as champion.
I think what made that last match with the Bucks so good, because you're like, oh, there's no way the Bucks are losing the title tonight, and then they did.
Yeah,
and I mean that made it really good, because you were like, oh, the Bucks are going to win this. Like it's Wednesday Night Dynamite, of course.
You kind of always think, oh, this is going to build up to maybe the pay-per-view, and they'll do it then. Yeah.
Right. And I think it's way more fun, and I think it makes the stakes a little better, right? Like you said, when it's not just a pay-per-view every single time.
And if you're trying to get people to watch your show, oh, yeah, I didn't usually watch Dynamite. I skip it. I watch the pay-per-views. Oh, but Mox just lost the title last night. Okay, I have to watch this now because maybe something else is going to happen, right? Like, why not have, Mina Shirakawa beat Mariah May on Dynamite and win the women's title? That would be cool. I'd be excited for that.
WWE used to do that with the women all the time. They'd pass that thing around. Sasha would win it one week, Mercedes would win it 1 week, and then go back to Alexa.
Wasn't there a period where Sasha never successfully defended the title?
Right. It would always go back to Alexa Bliss every single freaking time.
She would win it and then immediately lose it the next match. Yeah. And like that's too much. I'm not saying do that. And I'm not saying do it all the time. But like if in the next 8 months there was 4 different champions, that's fine. And then you could have someone win it and keep it for 6 months or a year and stabilize it again. And then that would mean more for that person, because if the title's changed hands 5 times this year, then the guy who gets it and keeps it for a year, oh, he must be really good because he could keep it for a year. I don't know. I think that would be fun. I would like to see that.
You could do an angle too, like especially with like the World Championship, it gets passed around like, for short periods of time, and then somebody would step in, you could have a story where somebody steps in and says, I'm going to carry this title now. You guys made it a joke. It's not serious anymore. And then somebody can just hold a reign on it for a while, Yeah.
And like kind of be like, oh, you couldn't hold it for this long. None of you were able to hold on to it for this long, but like I did.
I'm going to make this title mean something. I'm going to hold on to it. Right.
Yeah. That would be cool. And like that's, you have so many titles. Why can't the international title change hands, or the TNT? Why can't it change hands on Dynamite like it used to? The TNT title used to change hands on Dynamite all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah,
honestly,
go for it.
I know Blasco yelled at me for this. That was probably one of my favorite gimmicks WWE did at first, was the 24/7 title, and it was Carmella and Ron Killings would like run around with it, and I mean it would go to somebody different like every week, and then they'd eventually get it back. it was just fun because anybody could pin anybody anywhere and they could take it.
Yeah.
And so it
And
kind
you
of added a
never,
little
you never
something.
assumed it was like the world title. Like it wasn't at that
No,
level.
it was
It
just
was like the
fun.
fun title. Yeah.
Right.
Like, AEW kind of, I don't know. I'll give Jericho and the Bucks a bit of credit for this, and usually I don't, but they try to occasionally be like funny or witty or silly.
Hmm.
Because AEW does kind of do not as much as Mox does, but they are kind of we're very
They're
serious all the
We're
time.
serious about ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get it. If you want to present it like a sport, you want to present it like how New Japan presents wrestling. It's a sport. It's serious. But it doesn't have to be. It can be silly once in a while.
But New
Or
Japan is also silly once in a while, and they do it very well.
yeah. So, like, if Orange Cassidy won the title, like Biddy was speculating, and then he had like 2 balloons drop down from the ceiling, and then like halfway held up the belt, and then just walked out of the ring, and that was his celebration. But they like hyped it up like it was his championship celebration, and that's all it was. That would be great. I would love that. Like I loved when at All In he came out, and a lot of the big names had fireworks coming off the top of the stadium. They cut to like the drone shot of the other side of the stadium, and one little sparkler went off. That was amazing. Like do that. That's great. Maybe Orange Cassidy's the guy to make it fun because he is fun.
Right.
He could do it.
Right.
But yeah, why not have him win the title on a random Dynamite and keep it for a month, and then he could lose it again? And I mean, they have Christian with that cash-in thing, so that's a guaranteed excuse to have someone win the belt. I mean, it's a huge heel move if like Orange Cassidy or Darby finally wins their first world title, and then Christian cashes in and they lose it in 5 minutes.
Well, and that's something I actually appreciate. There are so many angles they can dart off on, and they've set themselves up that they can. Who knows if someone gets hurt? What if Mox gets hurt, or whatever? They can jump to those offshoots they've planted the seeds for.
I
and
have
it
that
won't be
about this
weird.
angle. I don't necessarily love this angle. I don't love the fighting for AEW aspect of it, but I do like that. Yeah, now there's Hangman could win it, Darby could win it, Orange Cassidy could win it, Christian could win it, Jay White could win it. Like any of them could realistically, they could win the title next week, and it would make sense, and it wouldn't feel strange, and like that's a good spot to be in. All right. Anything else from anybody? Oh, you guys are talkative today.
I don't think so.
Shut up, cold ass Rick. Listen, everyone. Rick has
my wish
cold.
for AEW is for Rick to just shut up.
Look, Ricky's doing it with cold.
I'm a
Bless
trooper.
his little
All
heart.
right.
He's
I'm the
trooper.
This is
He's
like
a
that
man
game. This is
For
like
the
that game
cold,
Michael
he's
Jordan played.
dying.
This is like the time Michael Jordan played a game with the flu, and we talked about
Yes.
it nonstop for 30 years.
Rick-
It's the same
Rick-
thing.
Rick Jordan
That's right.
doing it
My-
with the flu.
That's right. But yeah, next week is going to be kind of just our holiday party Festivus week. So we're going to just talk about stuff. Jay's really excited to complain about what we like to eat. So
Oh,
that'll
we
be
fight
fun.
about food all the
No.
time off pod. So
We
this
have
is great.
some spicy food takes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
We're
very
going to get into it.
very particular about food.
But we'll also have some wrestling stuff we're going to do. Our Festivus grievances. So I have stuff to complain about. I know it doesn't sound like me, but
You?
I'm going to complain about something. But yeah, it'll be fun. Again, thanks for listening. This has been a fun year. As always, we enjoy doing this. Hope you enjoy listening. And
I can't believe they still let me on.
Crack another beer open, Betty.
You just keep showing up. So.
I know. Well, you guys haven't told me, please don't come. You're horrible.
We haven't removed you from the group chat yet, so.
Oh my goodness. I know where you live. I'll come hunt you down. No, I won't. I don't even leave my house.
Biddy Moxley over here is threatening to murder people, so. On that note, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll be here next week. Thanks a lot. Later.